alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is me, Dr. Ibrahim Shinnawi, welcoming you to our lecture in our course Modern Drama. I hope you are doing well in this course and in all the other courses. Until now, we finished an introductory lecture in addition to four lectures. Today, inshallah, we are going to start together lecture number 5. And as you still remember that in the first two lectures we had an introduction about modern drama, and in the lecture number 3 and number 4 we introduced the text that we are going to study, something about the writer, the dramatist Henrik Ibsen. And we got to know something about some of the characters that we have here, and we started the story in brief, like a summary, giving you a brief summary of this play. Still here in this lecture, still we are having here the summary, the story in brief, and we reached that point when Noura scolded by Helmer for telling a lie. And Helmer now returns home and asks if anybody had come to see him or her. Noura tells a lie, saying that nobody had come. You know that, as we said, that Krogstad came again to Noura to speak about his position in the bank. He is afraid to be dismissed by her husband Helmer, who is now the manager of the bank in which Krogstad is working. And he had threatened her, as you know. Of course, he discovered, as I said, her forgery of the bond, of the papers, the bank papers, by signing instead of her father, which is considered as a crime. Helmer says that he had just seen Krogstad leaving their house. So Helmer notes Krogstad leaving the house. Noura then admits that Krogstad had come and had remained with her in the house for a minute or so. Helmer asks if Krogstad has sought her help in connection with his post in the bank. So he is smart enough to guess why Krogstad visited Helmer. Noura admits that this was the case. So he came, as I said, to ask her to let Helmer leaving him in the house. Helmer mildly scolds Noura for having talked to an undesirable man like Krogstad. He did not like him, and of course we will know why. He also scolds her for having told him a lie by having said that nobody had come to the house in his absence. Noura, however, he also begins to fondle Noura in order to show that he is not very annoyed with her. Helmer then gets busy with his official papers, while Noura gets busy with the Christmas tree. Now, Helmer's connection or strong condemnation of Krogstad's character. As we said, that Helmer did not like Krogstad. And after a brief pause, Noura speaks to Helmer and asks him what kind of dress she should wear for the fancy dress ball, which is to be held the next day, the next evening in their neighbor's apartment upstairs. He replies that he would think over the matter and let her know what kind of costume she should wear for the purpose. She then asks Helmer what offense Krogstad had been guilty of and why Krogstad's post at the bank is now in danger. Helmer replies that Krogstad had been guilty of forgery, which was a very serious offense. So one of the reasons why he did not like Krogstad, because of his bad reputation. So he had been guilty of forgery, which was a very serious offense. And now, of course, Noura will think of the same crime she did, the same offense she committed. So Noura says that Krogstad had perhaps been compelled to commit forgery by circumstances over which he had no control. Helmer says that it might be so, and that he would not like to punish a man to the extent of dismissing him from the bank just because he had been guilty of one single offense. Noura feels happy to hear this, but Helmer goes on to say that not only had Krogstad committed an offense, but that he had escaped the punishment for that offense by means of cunning trick. It was the use of this trickery which showed Krogstad to be a morally depraved person. So he described him as a morally depraved person, someone who is morally corrupted, someone who has no morals at all. Helmer then goes on to express his views about the evil effect which such a man would be exercising upon his family. If a man has a crime on his conscience, he would always be telling lies and putting on false appearances. Such a man would spread disease and infection all over his household. So he considers Krogstad as if he were like a virus, and he would spread. Look how he described him. He said that Krogstad would spread disease and infection all over his household. So he is going to poison his whole families. Such a man would be an evil influence on his children. So he thinks that Krogstad would definitely affect negatively on his children. Why? Because the house of such a man would be full of evil germs. So such a man his house would be full of evil germs. Helmer says that he finds it impossible to work with a man like Krogstad, and that he would feel literally sick in that man's presence. Helmer then goes into his study. Helmer's attitude clearly shows to Noura that he is bent upon dismissing Krogstad. Noura's torturing thoughts. Noura is now feeling terribly upset. Not only has she failed to save Krogstad's job for him, but she has been told by Helmer that a person with a crime on his conscience is sure to exercise an evil influence upon his children. Helmer's words are now ringing in her ears, and she asks herself if she too is unconsciously exercising an evil influence upon her children, because she, like Krogstad, has been guilty of a criminal act. So the words of Helmer now are ringing in her ears. She remembers all what he said, and she asks herself if she is too unconsciously exercising an evil influence. Now Noura is thinking if she is doing the same bad thing to her children, if she is exercising an evil influence upon her children, because she, like Krogstad, has been guilty of a criminal act, because she committed the same crime which Krogstad committed, which is forgery, right? So now Noura is having like mental torture. She is having like inner conflict about if she did something good or something bad. What she did was for the sake of her family, or it goes against her family. So now indeed the thought terrifies her. That terrifies and makes her afraid, terrifies her, and in a brief soliloquy she expresses the state of her mind. So she expresses in a soliloquy the state of her mind, saying, corrupt my children. Now she is asking herself, she is speaking in a soliloquy, she is speaking to herself, corrupt my children, poison my home. It's not true. It could never be true. I have never thought of this. I have never thought of hurting, corrupting, and poisoning my home. What she did, as you still remember, that she borrowed that money, she got that money from the bank because she wanted to save the life of her husband, the life of Helmer, because the doctors said or recommended that if she did not take him to another place, another warmer place, and that's why she went to Italy, his life would be in danger. He would die soon, right? So that's why she did not think. She got the money, took him to Italy, stayed there for a while, and then came back when his health gets better.